Happy Tuesday, everyone, and thanks for listening to episode 45 of the Southern Conservative Podcast. My name is Ty. I didn't have a chance to get into the military strikes on Syria during Monday's podcast, so let's start there. As you all know by now, our military, along with those of Britain and France, launched a military strike on several locations in Syria to take out that country's capability to produce and use chemical weapons. This comes about a week after Bashar al-Assad's regime used chemical weapons, including chlorine gas and nerve agents, resulting in the deaths of many people, including women and children. Over 100 missiles were launched, all hitting their intended targets. No innocent civilians were killed. It's been described as a precision attack, and it certainly was. Now, there's all sorts of rhetoric being bantered around that we're going to discuss today. The first involves whether Trump should even have done this, or whether he should have asked Congress for an authorization for the use of military force against Syria. Now, let's be clear. Launching this military strike, using the Navy and the Air Force to bomb Syria, is not declaring war on that country. We're simply trying to make it difficult for Syria to use chemical weapons and to tell Syria that we will not stand, and our allies will not stand, with a country that uses chemical weapons, especially a country that uses chemical weapons against its own people. We're not engaged in a back-and-forth war with Syria. Frankly, the American people don't have the appetite for another war in the Middle East. And from the statement Trump delivered on Friday, he really doesn't want a war with Syria either. And by the way, we can't let Syria get away with using chemical weapons. The United States is obligated to take out their capability to use chemical weapons for two reasons. First, it's a humanitarian effort. Assad used chemical weapons against fellow Syrians. How barbaric and evil can you get? I mean, an effort like that is right up there with the likes of Hitler and Stalin. But the second thing, what message does this send to other dictators and other madmen around the world? If we did not address what Syria did, we're sending a message loud and clear that the United States will not go after you if you use chemical weapons. If we didn't punish Syria, why would other countries think they would be punished if their leaders use chemical weapons against their own people or against another country? The United States, being the world superpower, sent a very loud message to the countries around the world. Using chemical weapons will come with a price, and that price is the power and might of the United States military. I must applaud France and the UK for joining the United States in this effort. This just helps clarify the message that other nations around the world will not stand for the use of chemical weapons either. Then there's the ridiculous message that Trump did this simply to distract from the recent investigation into Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. This is so absurd, it's absolutely ridiculous. The chemical weapons were used before the FBI raided Trump's lawyer. And for the reasons I've already mentioned, Trump was obligated to respond to what Syria did. And the president responded appropriately, in my opinion. This entire wag the dog conspiracy is ridiculous. And speaking of Michael Cohen, there are some very interesting updates about the investigation out of the Southern District of New York. The judge presiding over this case is Kimball Wood. Kimball Wood is not going to allow Cohen's defense team to look over documents seized by the FBI that could be matters protected by attorney-client privilege. There's a fear that the documents could be destroyed. Instead, the judge said the court's taint team would handle this matter just fine, but also threw out the idea of having an independent lawyer called a special master to help in the process. The taint team is the group of investigators separate from the prosecutors in the case who would go through the documents and would give the prosecution only those documents that did not violate attorney-client privilege. Now, I'm not sure last week if I spoke about the problem of a taint team. There's no doubt in my mind the FBI is working closely with the Southern District of New York. Robert Mueller can't have the appearance that he's looking into matters unrelated to Russian collusion, even though no one so far has been charged with collusion. In fact, Paul Manafort has been charged with committing crimes totally unrelated to Russia or the 2016 election. So Mueller turns over the investigation into Michael Cohen and payments made to Stormy Daniels and others to the Southern District of New York. Now, the FBI agents have already seen these documents. Now, we expect the court's taint team to review these documents and to never leak to the prosecution what's contained in those documents that should be protected via attorney-client privilege. If you don't think leaks are going to happen, then you're fooling yourself. We have leaks on almost a daily basis about the special counsel and what they're doing. Whether the leaks are coming from Robert Mueller himself or whether the leaks are coming from other people inside the special counsel's team, either way, it's preposterous. And the media is just eating all of this up. It's hard to discern what's real news and what's fake news, but you have the media reporting on these leaks just the same. I like that the judge is tossing around the idea of appointing a special master to look at these documents. That would be the appropriate route to take. But at the end of the day, Mueller doesn't want to go after Cohen. Cohen might wind up being charged with something, who knows, and that would be a shame. But Mueller's ultimate goal is to get Trump. And if he can't nail the president on Russian collusion, he'll try to get him on something else. And if he can't actually charge the president with anything, he can certainly instill into the minds of lawmakers ideas that would warrant impeachment. And he has already succeeded on that front. And folks, if you don't want this president impeached, you better get out there and vote for your representative in November and vote Republican. Because if Democrats get control of the House next year, make no mistake, they will try to impeach the president. Then we learned yesterday that Cohen was practically forced to reveal the identity of one of his clients, and that turned out to be Sean Hannity. Now, Sean has been a very vocal critic of Robert Mueller, and rightfully so. And we all know that he's a big supporter of the president, for the most part. And of course, the left is running wild with this, saying Sean is conflicted in his criticism of the special counsel and how Trump has been treated by the FBI and the special counsel. Except there's only one problem. Sean has not been a true client of Michael Cohen in the usual sense of what you would think a client would be. Sean has never retained Cohen for legal matters, but Sean has asked Cohen his opinion on certain legal matters involving real estate. This certainly doesn't meet the standard of attorney-client privilege because there's no legal work being done on behalf of Sean Hannity. Sean has simply asked Cohen for advice, but never established a true attorney-client relationship. For those of you that don't know this, I have a full-time job as a pharmacist at a hospital. And I'm asked all the time by family members or friends, and sometimes even complete strangers who find out that I'm a pharmacist. I'm asked of my opinion on drugs or some information about drugs, if they have some sort of question about a drug or side effects, or what drugs can be used to treat this or that. But these people aren't established patients of mine. I don't have profiles of these people, of their medical history, or their current drug usage. These are simply people asking my opinion because they know I have knowledge about drugs. Well, the same is true of Sean Hannity. He knows Michael Cohen, and he knows Cohen is a lawyer. And he has asked Cohen his opinion on legal matters. Sean in no way is involved in this investigation. It's really quite amazing to see the left run away with this. I've even seen headlines out there of different people calling for Sean Hannity to be fired by Fox News. Folks, that's not going to happen, and all of this is just simply ridiculous. I want to remind everyone to please check out my Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/Southern Conservative. That's facebook.com/Southern Conservative. There you will find links to conservative news articles on stories you may not hear about in the mainstream media. Plus, if you follow the news feed, you'll find links to the daily podcasts. Be sure to also subscribe to this YouTube channel and click on the notifications bell so you'll be alerted each time a new podcast has been posted. New podcasts are posted daily, Monday through Thursday. I want to end with a local story. Well, it's somewhat of a local story. It's out of Jacksonville, Florida. There is a video going around. Someone who works with me at the hospital last night showed this to me, of a city inspector in Jacksonville providing a business a warning citation of violating a city code for flying military flags along with the American flag on top of the building above the business. The name of the business is Jaguar Power Sports, and from my understanding, it's a business that caters to veterans. There was a veteran at the store who witnessed the city inspector, Melinda Power, issuing the warning to the business. According to Action News Jax, who spoke with this veteran, who is remaining anonymous, the veteran told the city inspector, Melinda Power, "I voiced my opinion that I was a veteran and I don't appreciate it. At that point, she turned to me and said, 'Well, your opinion really doesn't matter at this point. I'm here to discuss this with the owner.'" The entire episode was captured on the store's surveillance video, and it shows the city worker getting up in this veteran's face and wagging her finger in his face. The veteran went on to tell Action News Jax, "She turned around at the door and said to me in a very loud voice that what I did for this country did not matter. I was mad. I don't take a lot of things personal. I really don't. But this strikes a chord with me." This man was shot in the leg 3 times while serving in the military. According to an employee of the store, Melinda Power got in the man's face and said, "You did nothing for this country," and just walked out of the store. And the military community right now is in an uproar. And they should be. Now, I'm going to walk through this piece by piece, just so there's no misunderstanding here. Let's just take this at face value, this woman working as a city inspector, just doing her job. If you want to give this city inspector the benefit of the doubt and say that she was just doing her job in issuing this citation, that's one thing. But this woman had no business getting in the face of this veteran, who was also a customer at the store, wagging her finger in his face, and more or less telling him that his service to this country does not matter. Now let's look at the inspector's job and how she could have handled this matter. When it comes to doing her job, these inspectors are just like police officers, and they use their judgment when issuing warnings and citations. Just like a police officer might let you off with a warning for speeding instead of issuing you a ticket, this woman could have talked to the business owner and told him the flags above the business are in violation of city code. I'm just letting you know this for your own information. And I'm sure the matter would have been handled better. Now let's focus on the code violation itself. I'm going to share the video this business owner made on my Facebook page at facebook.com/southernconservative. You can see the owner standing outside his business, and you can see the different military flags flying on top of the store. There's also an American flag flying on top of the store. Mind you, this is a store that caters to veterans. It's absolutely ridiculous that this would be a violation of Jacksonville's city code. The mayor of Jacksonville, Lenny Curry, put out a statement that reads, "I have directed city staff that military flags should be treated the same as U.S. flags. Let them fly. I have reached out to the business owner and will review employee procedures. City of Jacksonville employees are expected to be respectful of our customers, you, the people of Jacksonville. We support our military and veterans, and we appreciate businesses who honor their service." Melinda Power, the city inspector, has posted an apology online. "I have the utmost respect for the military. My father was a World War II POW, husband Vietnam vet, son-in-law retired Marine, cousin Brigadier General. While most will not agree, the citation for military signs was a violation. This was changed today, as it should be. The veteran business owner put in the conversation was not pleased. I thought he said, "Do you know what I did?" I said nothing. That's when he said bullet wounds, etc. Tempers on all sides flared. I should never have been unprofessional and disrespectful, period. Sincerely apologize. Now, I'll say up front that I'm glad she came forth with an apology. But I don't know about you, but I feel that this apology rings rather hollow. First, given her family members who have served in the military, why would she be getting in the face of a veteran who was simply voicing his opinion about the citation? And again, why even write the citation? She has to know that she's in a store that serves veterans. She's in a store that caters to military people. She could have informed the owner about the city ordinance without having to issue a written citation. And she said that tempers on all sides flared. Well, I didn't see the veteran getting in this woman's face, but you can clearly see this woman getting in the veteran's face and wagging her finger in his face. Very unprofessional behavior, in my opinion. Now, as a city inspector, I'm assuming that she's also a resident of Jacksonville. And as a city inspector, she's obviously aware of the different city ordinances. Given her family background of military veterans, has she ever voiced her concerns to the mayor or the city council about an ordinance against military signs and flags? I mean, it's ridiculous to even have an ordinance like this in the first place. I hope this woman is sincerely sorry for how she behaved, and I applaud the mayor for allowing this business to continue flying its flags. But this goes to show you the insanity of some of these city ordinances. I have a problem with the government dictating how businesses are to conduct their business. And this is just a classic example. You have a business that caters to military men and women, and they fly military flags over the business. And the government has an ordinance in place that essentially makes it illegal for the business to do this. That's ridiculous. And what kind of message does this send to the military community? What is the military community to think of the city of Jacksonville? Now, the city has to take a stand to say that this type of behavior cannot be tolerated. This woman should be reprimanded for her behavior. The veteran who was in this store said that he's not looking for her to be fired, but she should be reprimanded. At a minimum, she needs to be reprimanded. Putting aside the fact that she insulted a veteran in his service to our country, she was very disrespectful to a customer at a business. If you let this slide, then the city is telling other city inspectors that this behavior toward customers will be tolerated. Well, this behavior cannot be tolerated, and I hope all of you will check out this video. Again, I will post it to my Facebook page. Well, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow for another podcast. Have a great day, everybody.